This week on Savage Wild, we're in the Suwannee River in search of a prehistoric monster fish. It's very mysterious and elusive, and I can't wait to meet him face to face. The Suwannee River is an ancient place. Epic struggles of life and death have occurred here for thousands of years. During the Ice Age, giant beasts roamed this river and these forests. And in these waters, a giant fish from the age of dinosaurs still exists, the Gulf sturgeon. I am Manny Puig. I have spent my whole life learning to survive like Tarzan in the most dangerous and primitive wilderness, where you can be killed or eaten. I have learned the ways of giant, man-eating predators, deadly sharks and reptiles, where every encounter may spell disaster in the savage wild. This place has an ancient feel to it. Even the shoreline looks prehistoric. Every river in Florida is unique. They all have a story to tell and secrets to reveal. I have heard stories about this river and what lives here. And now I am here to see it for myself. It's late fall, early in the morning, and we are in the Suwannee River. I'm very excited. I have never been on the Suwannee River before. I've explored every other river in Florida, but this one. Not only is this river full of history, it's teeming with wildlife. I can't wait to get in here. There are sturgeon in here. There's bull sharks that come in here. I have no idea what I'm gonna find in this river. I can't wait to get in and start exploring. My main goal is to encounter the giant Gulf sturgeon, a fish that can reach 8 feet in length and weigh up to 500 pounds. Almost wiped out, they have started to make a comeback in the Suwannee River. When you go into a place you don't know, you better have a good guide. And we have the right man, Zach Vernaka. He's my friend and he's our personal guide in this river. This man knows this part of Florida like you read about. This guy is an expert. He's the one that has told me about this place and he's gonna turn me on to what's in this area.
Manny, check this out. This is something I've got to show you. These limestone cliffs were formed 40 million years ago. And 10,000 years ago, these are the same cliffs that Paleo-Indian man would have been ambushing mammoths. In fact, along this corner, I have found the great woolly mammoth bones. They scatter and litter the river bottom here. And I know for a fact that 10,000 years ago, the early hunters were here. So
they had to, they can't just run up and get them. They had to ambush. They had to get in the right place, in the right setting, and wait for the woolly mammoth to trap them in and do their killing, right?
Correct. Think of it this way. A killing football team. These guys were organized. They knew where each man was going to be positioned. This was a teamwork effort to bring down one of those great elephants.
To me, that's fascinating. I'm really, really into that. It's amazing. If they fail enough times, they all starve to death.
That's correct.
So they had to be very, very good at what they were doing.
And as you would imagine, 10,000 years ago, there wasn't a hospital. So if you had a leg broken by one of these big elephants, that meant your life.
Okay, that's the real Savage Wild. I'm playing around with my animals over here, but those guys are the real Savage Wild. The saber-toothed cat, the woolly mammoth. I'm sure the giant alligators were here. It's late in the fall. The water's about 72 degrees and the air is about 60. So we have this fog coming up the river and it's creating these little tornadoes. I've never seen that before. Little tiny little ghosts coming up out of the river and it's spinning like this, one after another. Yeah, I guess the way the air is blowing, the temperature, everything is set right to create that situation. I'd never seen that before. This is a heart pine log. This is the heart of a giant pine tree. And this has been here for 300 years and it just recently floated up. What happens, all the outside bark has died away from it, it's been removed. You can see it was axe cut. This could have been cut by the British, the Spanish, or the French, maybe 300 years ago. This land has been used by people forever, for thousands of years, by Native Americans and then the Europeans. So what happens with time, these logs are in the bottom of the river, they'll rise to the surface. This is history right here. This is very interesting. Look at this, see? This is where it was hit. This log stirs my imagination. For 10,000 years, man has hunted in this river. First, the Ice Age hunters were here hunting woolly mammoth. Then the Indians were hunting here. Then the Europeans, all the way to the present. All this history is caught up in this river. I am exploring the ancient Suwannee River. From the dinosaurs to the Ice Age, huge beasts lived and died here. The limestone formations on the shore are 40 million years old. I'm here to see with my own eyes a living fossil from the time of the dinosaurs. The giant Gulf sturgeon, a massive fish that can reach 8 feet and 500 pounds. My friend Zach Frinoka has seen hundreds of Gulf sturgeons on the Suwannee, and I will take advantage of his experience. Zach, and I can see real good in the shallow water. Do they get up in the shallow water?
The sturgeon prefer deeper water. They like the deeper holes. They tend to congregate in areas where they have a little bit more water to not only swim around, but to jump. These animals, you know, I don't know if they're displaying territory, if they're just doing it for fun, but they love to have enough water to breach the surface like a dolphin.
Oh, so they need the depth to come up like that, right?
That's correct.
Do they like, what about the current?
What I've found with sturgeon is that they prefer being close to fresh spring water. So a lot of times, if there's a spring flowing out of these limestone rocks, you'll find a family of sturgeon. Manny, I know that you have a ton of experience, but when you're down here on the bottom of the Suwannee River, you've got to watch your head on the logs, and you've got to look for overhanging caves and rock formations. This bottom is a karst maze of limestone boulders, old fishing nets, and great logs.
So in other words, look up before you look before you rise.
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, the sun feels good.
Doesn't it? That's what I was saying.
Starting to warm me up a little bit. It was cold this morning.
Yeah, you guys are going to do just fine.
Reach in here.
You're going to want to start right around here. Yeah, and just work your way up along that trough. Did you do the repair?
Yeah.
You could fix
it. We're going to jump in down over here. Zach's seen sturgeons in here before. I have never seen a sturgeon in my life. Understand that. So I'm going to be looking all in through here, and hopefully I'll find some sturgeons. That's one of the animals I really, really want to find. I want to investigate the shoreline. The sturgeon will be in deeper water, but the banks of this river look mysterious, and I want to see what's down there. The water is red from tannic acid. The visibility is only about 10 feet. I see a slider turtle resting against a log. As I try to catch it, it powers away, swimming as fast as it can in circles. I finally managed to get a grip on it. yellow belly slider. These turtles are in every river in Florida, every river. Everywhere. It's the most common turtle out here, Florida. I continue exploring the Suwannee, hoping to see a giant Gulf sturgeon. In the middle of the river, the bottom seems barren. And then I see the faint outline of a huge fish. It's a Gulf sturgeon, over 5 feet long. I managed to swim alongside of it for a few seconds before it bolts away, and I catch a glimpse of another as I surface. So far I've seen 2 sturgeons. One of them was about this big. I got up on him, I was trying to get Quit to sandwich him across the other side. Quit got a quick shot of him as he took off, and I just seen another one bolt over here. I'm trying to, I'm gonna keep combing this area and see if I can find him. Hopefully I find a real big one. But that's the 2 first sturgeons I've ever seen in my entire life in the wild. I am exploring Florida's ancient Suwannee River. 10,000 years ago, Ice Age man stood on these limestone formations and hurled spears at the mastodons that were waiting in the mud. I have come here to encounter a giant fish, left over from when dinosaurs roamed the earth. The giant Gulf sturgeon.
Manny, there's evidence of Florida's prehistoric past all over the Suwannee River. And what I have here is half of the jaw to a juvenile mastodon. And what you see are 2 erupted teeth, meaning that these teeth were in use. You can see the chew wear here.
Yeah, definitely.
And right here where part of the bone is broken away, it's exposed an unerupted tooth that was still yet to come through the jaw. So this fossil is roughly anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 years old.
It's a shame they're extinct. Can you imagine these things roaming around the woods right now? The hunters would like it, the wildlife people would love it. It would add to the wildlife that's already here. I mean, we don't have anything this big roaming the woods out here today.
No, and it's a shame. I often dream about what these animals look like. It would be incredible to see a living mastodon today.
What's the difference between a mastodon and a mammoth?
Well, one of the easiest ways to tell the difference is in the teeth. With a mastodon like this fossil, you have these big ridges, these cusps. And with mammoth teeth, the teeth are essentially flat with shallow ridges. So the mastodon were more equipped for heavy-duty grinding of bigger, more robust plants, whereas the mammoth kind of ground their plants up. They had flat teeth. So that's the big difference. The mastodon have ridges and the mammoth teeth are flat.
And about predators preying on the mastodon.
Yep, there were a couple serious predators that especially would have fed on the young mastodon. We had the dire wolf, we had the saber cat, and of course we had different species of cats like the jaguar and the American lion. All of those would have feasted on this elephant.
Right here we have a spring flowing into the Suwannee River. There's millions of gallons of water, fresh water, clean, real pure water coming right out of the aquifer, right into the river. And this river is full of spots like this, and that's what keeps the water here clean. Zach had mentioned earlier that sturgeons seem to congregate near natural springs. So I decided to investigate this area. Sturgeons don't really travel in schools. They actually hang around in groups, kind of like cattle grazing in a field. I am hoping to spot a large congregation of giant Gulf sturgeon. As the bottom looms into view, I realize Zach was right. They must like the water flowing from the springs. I spot 2 sturgeon right away and manage to get a very close look at one of them. Incredible. I saw a mark, like a little markings of them. I could see them way down at the bottom swimming under us. That's why I went down. The one was going under us at that time, I'm pretty sure. Let's look over here. This time I will work my way into deeper water by cruising along the bottom. Sturgeon are here too. Follow one large sturgeon, trying to get below him. But he swims off into the murky water. And let me tell you, I have never seen a sturgeon in my life. I seen my full of sturgeon today. I didn't know how, I knew they were nice size, but I didn't know how big to actually see them, how big some of these sturgeons are. They're actually this wide. And I mean, they're over 6 feet long. Some of these sturgeons are enormous. They're very spooky fish, Every fish has an approach. If you go directly above them, I can get near them, and directly underneath them. From the side, they see you well. Look at these rocky ledges up here. Imagine, go back 10,000 years. There would have been Ice Age hunters on these cliffs right here, throwing spears of mastodons. What an incredible sight. I would have liked to have been right there with them. I would have been right there with them, because I like spear hunting also. This makes me feel like I was born 10,000 years too late. I mean, I missed on a great adventure in those days. There are hundreds of thousands of dragonflies out here, up and down the river. They're feeding on mosquitoes and insects, so actually they're doing us a favor. They're wiping out the mosquito population, so we're out here, there's no mosquito biting us right now. This is an army of devastation. Look at them all. There's just like fighter jets just killing all the mosquitoes out of the air. A mini savage wild. Man, I'm out here in the Suwannee. Queta's ready in the water. I just seen a huge sturgeon from the boat just swimming by. I mean, I gotta get in there. The action's in there right now. As I move along the bottom, a sturgeon swims right up to me out of the gloom. What a prehistoric looking fish. I keep moving, and soon I spot another sturgeon in mid-water. I am going to attempt to rise up underneath it and see how close I can get. I almost touch the sturgeon before it swims away. This spot seems promising, so I dive again. At first, the only thing I see is the sandy bottom. But I keep moving and soon make out the shape of a sturgeon. This one allows a very close approach, and I can clearly see how armor-plated this fish is. These sturgeons are pretty shy. Apparently the best way to approach them is from underneath. Somehow they don't see you when you're right under their belly. They gotta be at least 3 feet off the bottom, and then you lay on your back and you swim underneath them, and then you can see their mouth and you get a view on them like this. But it's you know, they're a spooky fish, or prehistoric fish. I mean, they look like dinosaurs too. On the next dive, I encounter a monster sturgeon, over 6 feet long and at least 200 pounds. In my book, size counts, and this one is magnificent. This is definitely a female. Males only grow to about 5 feet. Females do not mature sexually until they are 10 to 17 years old. This one must be very old. The monster sturgeon allows me to approach closely before swimming off into the murky water. You got him beautiful. I know you did. I saw you perfect. That was the biggest one I've seen all day. It was this high. I seen it from the surface. I don't go quick. I'm tapping on him. I'm tapping on you. I can see his fins like this. And yeah, you were right on this side. I came right above him, and then I leaned over on this side of him, man. I was trying to use my hand in front of him, so coach him towards your way. Whew, man, that was the scoots on him were that big on him. That was the biggest one I've seen all day. I've been hearing about sturgeons and reading about sturgeons my entire life. My entire life I wanted to see a sturgeon, you know, and years ago the sturgeons were almost extinct. It was unheard of. People hardly ever saw them, you know. They were fished almost to Never Land. And but today it's my first. I didn't just see one sturgeon. I saw dozens of sturgeons, little ones, big ones. I got close to them. I got to see them. I got to swim underneath them. And I mean, I swam with alligators, sharks, everything. But this is a unique and special day for me. My first day on the Suwannee, my first day ever in the water with a sturgeon.